What's going on, lads and lasses? Welcome back to the channel. So you might have seen me recent video talking about, of course, the APT rules being unlawful. Well, this is a follow-up to that video, and it is now, of course, been a little while since we heard that news on the Monday, and I've got to say there has been, of course, more news on this, and there will continue to be more news on this as well. But now we have heard that the Premier League, of course, are going to have an emergency meeting next week. It has been said that it will be Thursday of next week from one of the sources that I was looking at within the media. And of course, they were saying it will be Thursday of next week that this emergency meeting will take place. And the reason this emergency meeting is to take place, if you haven't seen the other video, do go check it out. But a quick synopsis of that, of course, is that the Premier League have been proven to be unlawful with their APT rules. Man City, of course, won in the APT case against the Premier League and proven that the APT rules were unlawful. They were not fit for purpose, and they are, of course, according to Manchester City, void because of this ruling. So that means that, of course, Premier League now have to amend the rules, and that is why this Premier League emergency meeting will take place on the Thursday of next week. Newcastle will be there, of course, as will the other 19 teams, and they're going to convey about the, of course, APT rules. The agenda, of course, the primary objective of the meeting is to discuss and potentially vote on a revised APT sponsorship guidelines that comply with relevant legal frameworks. So, of course, that they comply within line with the UK competition laws, because, of course, the ones that were in place do not comply with UK competition law, and that is why they were deemed unlawful. And now the implications of the outcome of this meeting could significantly impact the financial landscape, of course, of Premier League clubs and their ability to secure lucrative sponsorship deals, as of course it has been doing. So that is why these need to be looked at under a microscope, and every club needs to agree on these fully, and that is why they're going to have an emergency meeting to, of course, talk about it. And the resolution will be, of course, closely monitored by not only, of course, the industry itself, industry stakeholders, but it will be, of course, closely looked at by us fans as well, because everybody wants to know what is going to happen with these APT rules, because at the moment there is no APT rules from my understanding, from what I'm picking up, from what is being said, of course, on these. There doesn't look to be any APT rules at the minute, because the current ones were deemed, like I said quite a few times already, and I may be repeating myself, were deemed unlawful, so not fit for purpose to be in place. And that is why the, of course, judges are affording the Premier League a chance to amend these rules, revise these rules, change these rules to make them lawful and make them, of course, accepted by all parties involved. All 20 club members have to agree on these, and of course there will be no doubt a divide between members, because we have seen it already. There is one side of the fence where there's teams supporting the Premier League, and there's another side of the fence where there's teams supporting the Man City side of things. Of course, ourselves, Newcastle United, are obviously on the Man City side of things, because this would help our club, but it would also help other clubs as well. So we've got to look at the bigger picture here. Putting aside, of course, my bias towards Newcastle United, of course, with us being a Newcastle United fan, putting that aside, looking at the bigger picture, these rules definitely need to be looked at under a microscope. They need to be approved on by all clubs, because these rules can seriously change and significantly impact the landscape of the game as we know it. If these rules aren't amended in the right way and they go back under, or they have something under them that would make them the way they were when they were deemed unlawful, then that of course would be again more reason for a court case to go of course on. It hasn't went to a law court, it is only in a sport court at the minute, but you know, if it did turn out to be, you know, the rules going to what they were when they were deemed unlawful, then of course, you know, it would end up going further into a court of law, and then there could be serious implications for you know, people high up within the game, at the Premier League and at the teams that are of course in support of the Premier League as well. But the meeting's set for Thursday of next week. Hopefully, they can come to some sort of an agreement on these APT rules and make them more lawful, and take away, you know, the hidden agendas behind these things. But like I was saying in the previous video, you know, there was a secret letter, secret email sent out, and of course the Premier League have actually put it in their papers talking about this email, and it is very xenophobic, saying, you know, that they were targeting Gulf regions and to make these APT rules about Gulf regions, and that you know, as I say, it is very xenophobic. It's, you know, they're literally targeting one specific um, region here. You know, they're targeting one select group of people, and that is the Gulf region, which obviously can only mean one thing. You know, they're targeting Manchester City, they're targeting Newcastle United, my club, and that is, you know, not right. It's not right at all, because that is not, you know, the way it should be. If you're going to put rules in like this, you know, then it's got to be in a way that it addresses every club, every ownership, no matter, you know, where they come from. So hopefully, like I say, you know, things do get sorted out. But there will be, like I said, a Premier League meeting on Thursday of next week to talk about this, and hopefully, like I say, you know, things are finally figured out, and we can, you know, focus on what is important for us fans, you know, which is watching our clubs and seeing our clubs play, and hopefully, you know, seeing our clubs win as well. But at the moment, it's looking a lot more towards the financial side of things these days in the world of football. And hopefully, you know, we can start to move away from that. Hopefully, we can start to move away from all these legal cases that are having to be done against the Premier League. And it's all because, you know, they want to have a select group of teams at the top of the table. And talking back to that email as well, you know, the alleged person that they say is involved in that is actually Daniel Levy. But I personally think that it is allegedly, of course. I personally think that it is Joel Glazer of Man United. As we're seeing, you know, he put out a lot of messages across many different clubs' websites during that time as well. So maybe that could be something. But let us know your thoughts anyway down in the comments below. Hopefully you have liked this video. If you have, hit like, share, subscribe on it. And of course, till next time, I'll see you all for the next one. Bye, lads.